everyone, welcome to the Friday live stream. My name is Lauren Goodkind, and I've been teaching chess for the last 10 years to kids and adults. Right now, I am still setting up, so please be patient. Okay. Hope that everyone is having a great day. I know that I am. It is sunny in the San Francisco Bay Area, so that's great. So I'm right now I'm just waiting for hi everyone, welcome to my live stream. We're gonna officially start in 4 minutes at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In the meantime, it is white to move and it is checkmate in 2. So I want you to take a look at this position, and you need to checkmate black in 2 moves. So I'm going to officially start at 2 p.m. But in the meantime, try to solve this puzzle. Hope that everyone is having a great day. And in this position, it is white to move, and it is checkmate in 2. So how can you checkmate black in 2 moves? So we're gonna officially start in 3 minutes at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also, the other thing I have to remind you is if you think you know the answer, I want you to type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. We're gonna be learning some exciting things today. So it should be interesting. Hi, David. Welcome to my live stream. I'm doing this for this summer chess camp. And right now it is white to move, and it is checkmate in 1. I'm sorry, checkmate in 2. Checkmate in 2, everyone. Hope you're having a good day. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my live stream. We're going to officially start in 2 minutes. In the meantime, I want you to solve this puzzle. It is white to move, and it is checkmate in 2 moves. So again, if you think you know the answer, I want you to type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. So I can talk more about this position. This queen, it is pinning the bishop to the king. This king is in the corner, and notice this king has nowhere to go. So you have to be very, very careful in this position. So again, it is white to move, and it is checkmate in 2 moves, everyone. If you think you know the answer, I want you to type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. So you guys, welcome to my live stream. Hope that everyone is having a great day. And yeah, this hour it's going to be very fun. So I'm just waiting for people. Okay. So again, it is white to move, and it is checkmate in 2. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my live stream. I hope that everyone is having a great day. We're going to first start out with a chess puzzle. It is white to move, and it is checkmate in two. So how does white checkmate black in two moves? If you think you know the answer, I want you to type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. So again, it is white to move. You want to checkmate black in two moves. So how do we do this? Guys, welcome to my live stream. It is officially 2 p.m. So we are going to get started. If you just joined my live stream, welcome. In this right now, we are trying to solve this puzzle. It is white to move, and I want you to figure out how white can checkmate black in two moves. So again, if you think you know the answer, I want you to type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. I'm going to actually say hi to everyone. There we go. So, yep, it is white to move. I'll just tell you more about this position. This queen, it is... Okay, so JJ typed in bishop goes to B1 and the king has to take it, and then queen goes to H1. Okay, let's just talk about the solution. So bishop goes to B1. Yep, that's correct. So if you notice right now, again, the queen, it is pinning the bishop to the king. So therefore, this bishop cannot take the bishop. Black's only move is to take the bishop because the king cannot go to B2. So king goes, takes the bishop. And now the queen goes all the way down to H1. And then that's going to be a checkmate. So good job, everyone. We're going to go ahead and move on. And let's go ahead and move on to... Okay, yeah. So this is another fun pawn exercise. And in this position, it is white to move. White is going this way. And black is going this way, of course. So the question is, how do we win in this position? So again, if you think you know the answer, please just type it in the YouTube chat box. So again, it's white to move. Hi everyone, welcome to my live stream. Right now we are taking a look at this position. It is white to move. White's pawns are going this way, and black is going this way. How do we win in this position? So again, if you think you know the answer, I want you to type it in the YouTube chat box. So the good thing about white is white has a passed pawn on the H file, so that's a good thing. We have to be careful in this position. Okay. So it's white to move. Okay, so JJ wrote an answer. So JJ says we first have to move the pawn to F6, and that is correct, because after the pawn takes it, then this pawn can go to H5, and then again, let's say that the pawn goes here. Obviously, we're going to continue to move our pawn forward. Pawn goes there, pawn goes... This pawn moves up, this pawn continues, and then guess what? We get a queen. And then white should win. But let's go back to what actually happened. Wait, let's go back for a second. Why is pawn to F6 so important? What happens if we move the pawn to H5? pawn to h5 does not quite work because the king can go here, pawn goes here, king goes here, pawn goes here, and then if you notice right now, black's king can stop this pawn from promoting. So that's why moving the pawn to f6. Yeah, exactly. So that's why, like, if you move, that's why you have to move the pawn to f6 because it blocks the king's pathway. So, like, for example, if pawn goes to h5, king goes to e5, pawn to h6. Let's say that the king goes to e6, pawn goes to h7, and then king to f7. That king cannot stop this pawn from promoting. So that's great. Okay, so I hope you found this puzzle to be helpful. So yeah, sometimes we have to think creatively, like how can we successfully promote this pawn to a queen? So in this position, pawn to f6. Let's go ahead and move on. I think what we should do is, I want to do a review from yesterday because yesterday I taught you this position, and this is such an important position. Like, I want you to remember it. So again, the question is, what should white do in this position? Do you guys remember what to do? So again, black's pawn is going this way. Do you guys remember what to do? So what should white's first move be? So yeah, so we're gonna go rook to a3, and the reason why we're gonna go ahead and do this is because it stops the king from going to the third rank. So yep, to cut off the king from the third rank, exactly. And then let's say this rook goes to g1. Do you guys remember what to do? So we're gonna go ahead and we have to get out of check. So again, the most obvious move is king to d2, yes. And then again, I think that king to e2, this still works, but I prefer king to d2 because it's on the same line as the pawn. So that's great. I'm gonna go ahead and check you again. And again, the king should go back to d1. Let's say that I move the rook over to b2 now. What should you do now? Yeah, we're gonna go rook to g3. Actually, it doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, you can go to rook to g3, or you can also go to h3. It does not matter what square. The only thing, rook g3, rook to h3, it does, yeah, it doesn't really matter. The only thing we want to do is that we still want this rook to control the third rank, so because it stops the king from going to the third rank. So that's great. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and move my pawn up to d3, and then what should white do now? Do you guys remember what to do? Okay, yep, you can go rook to h4. That's perfectly fine. And okay, so you check me, so I'm gonna go ahead and then go here. And then if you notice right now, I am threatening checkmate. So what should we do now? Yeah, we have to go rook to h3 and check the king. I'm gonna go ahead and go king to d4. And then do you guys remember what to do now? Yeah, we have to end up moving the rook to h8. Just keep in mind that moving the rook to h4, this is a huge mistake because this king can just go to c3, and then black is threatening checkmate. So the rook has to go to h8 to check from behind. So you go there, and I'm gonna go here now. And then what do you do now as white? So what do we do now? We're gonna go ahead and go rook to c8. It checks, and then I have to get out of check. So let's say that I go here, and then the rook continues to check the king. And then let's say that I go here. You can continue the check. That's perfectly fine. I go here. Let's say that the rook goes here. It attacks the pawn, so the rook can go here to protect it, and then white's king can go here, and then white's rook is threatening to take the pawn. This king is too far away to protect the pawn. So let's say that the king goes here. The rook can just simply just take the pawn. Rook takes, and then king takes, and then this is going to be a draw. So that was this is just a review from yesterday. We're gonna continue. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is I want to teach you guys the bishop and knight checkmate. And I'm gonna say thank you to David Pacheco because he taught me how to do this. So I want to teach you guys how to do it. It is white to move. I know that not a lot of people know how to checkmate with the knight and the bishop, so I figured that it would be good to know how to do that. So I'm going to just give you guys some tips. This bishop is on a white square, and because of that, we need to force the king to be on a white square. So we're gonna end up forcing this king over to a8 to deliver checkmate. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question. What should white's first move be? So again, if you think you know the answer, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go bishop to h7. That's great. And then with this move, the king cannot go to g8. So therefore, black's king can only go to e8. And then, do you know what to do now as white? Knight to e5. Seems like JJ knows how to do this, but how about the other people? But yeah, you have to remember when you do the knight and bishop checkmate, the knight it goes in an L shape, a W shape, right? You have to alternate the knight from going to the fifth and then the seventh rank. So yeah, and so if the king and knight, if they're one square diagonal, you know it's time to move the knight. Okay, and then let's say that the king goes to f8. Then what do you think we should do? So what should white do now? Yeah, we're gonna go knight to d7. Yeah, knight to d7, it checks. Black's only move is to go to e8, and then notice that the king is attacking the knight. So therefore, what should white do now? King to e6, yeah. We're gonna go ahead and do this because it protects the knight. Black's only move is to go here. And then what should white do now? So we are making progress because we gotta force the king to go to A8. So what should White do now? Gonna go king to D6. Okay, and king to D6 is very, very important because again, this king is threatening to go to C7. So therefore, we need to go king to D6 because it stops the black king from going to C7. Okay, I have two possible moves. I'm gonna try to go. I'm gonna go to E8, and I'm gonna try to escape. And so what should I do now? Yeah, we're gonna go bishop to G6, and it checks the king. So therefore, black's only move is to go here. And then what do we do now? Yeah, yeah. Good job, JJ. Bishop to F7. It does not matter. The bishop can either go to F7 or H5. All we're doing is we're just gonna be doing a raiding move with the bishop. So keep in mind that this bishop needs to control the E8 square because we don't want black king to go to E8. So F7 or H H5 that works. And keep in mind that yeah, we don't want to move the knight right now because the king and knight, they're not one square diagonal from each other. So oh yeah, so we go bishop to F7, that's perfectly fine. And then black's only move is to go to C8, and then again, if you notice, the king and knight, they're one square apart, diagonal. So what should white do now? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go knight to c5. I have noticed that JJ is the only one that's typing answers, so I do invite other people to type in an answer too. Okay, so knight goes there. I'm gonna go ahead and move the king to d8, and then what should I do now? Yep. So what should I do? So again, JJ, yep, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and go knight to b7. It checks the king. Black's only move is to go to c8, and then obviously we need to do something about this knight. So again, you guys, JJ, I really appreciate you typing in answers, but again, I noticed that there were other people in this live stream, so I do invite other people to type in something in the YouTube chat box. So again, the question is, what should white do in this position? No, JJ, I really appreciate it, but I'm hoping but I hope that other people who are watching this, I hope that they can type some answers too. So if you're because I noticed like there are other people watching, so and don't be shy. Don't be shy. You guys just type in the answer. If you think you know the answer, just type it. Okay. I think people are shy today. Okay. JJ, go ahead. You can continue to just type in answers. It's perfectly fine. People are, I'm still waiting. Okay. JJ, yeah. King to c6. Yep, to protect it. And then again, my only move was to go king to b8. And then after that, what should we do? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go king to b6. Okay, so the logic behind king to b6 is because this king can go to a7. We don't want the king to escape. So that's why we need to go king to b6, because the king is controlling the a7 square. It is also protecting the knight on b7, and this king is also controlling c7. So this king is not going anywhere. Let's say that I go king to c8. And then, what do we do now? So I'm gonna quickly, I think I know the, okay. So the idea is this king is trying to go to d7 right now. So we have to move bishop to e6, because it forces the black king to go to b8. Okay, notice this black king cannot go to d8 because of this knight. So king goes here, and then what do we do now as white? So we're making very good progress. So what should white do in this position? So again, if you think you know the answer, please type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. So again, the question is, what should white do in this position? We need to force this white king. So that we have to force the black king to go to a8. So what should white move be? Bishop to d7. Okay, so just so that you know, we need this bishop to be on this diagonal, because this bishop is controlling c8. So bishop to d7, that's perfectly fine. But also notice that if we move the bishop to f5, g4, or h3, this is a perfectly good moves too, because with these moves, this bishop is still controlling the c8 square. So that's very important. But notice that, if we move the bishop to one of these squares, then that's going to be a big mistake, because then the king can go back to c8. So we can go bishop to d7. That's perfectly fine. And then black's only move is to go king to a8, and then after that, mission accomplished. We got the king to go to the a8 square, but now now it's a checkmate in 3. So how does white checkmate black in 3 moves? So again, if you think you know the answer, please type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. So what should white do? Right. Okay. So JJ wrote knight to c5. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go knight to c5. Black's only move is to go to b8, and then JJ says knight to a6. Yeah, that's correct. And then notice again, this bishop is controlling the c8. Notice that all 3 of white's pieces, they're all working together. That's very, very important. So black's only move is to go here, and then the bishop goes to c6, and then that's going to be checkmate. But now what I want to do is, I want to go back to this position. So again, the first move is bishop to h7, because this bishop is controlling the g8 square. Black's only move is to go here. And then again, as a mental reminder, is if the king and knight, if they are 1 square apart, and if it's 1 square diagonal apart, then it's time to move the knight. And when you move the knight goes in a W shape. That's very, very important. So I did talk about what to do if the king goes to f8, but what happens if the king decides to go the other way? Now this king is trying to run away by going to c7. So the question is, what should white do now? So the question is, what should white do in this position? We gotta force this king to go to a8, but this king is trying to run away right now. So what should white do? So again, if you think you know the answer, go ahead and just type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. So the king is trying to run away. So what should white do? And you guys don't be shy. We're just here just to learn. I'm here to teach you. So you know, again, if you think you know the answer, just go ahead and just type it in the YouTube chat box. So yeah. So again, it is white to move. Where should white move? So just so that you know, Black's king is trying to run away right now. So notice this knight, it is controlling the d7 and the c6 square. So what should white do in this position? Okay, so JJ says king to e6, and that's the correct move. Yep, we got him. This king needs to get closer to Black's king. So yep, we're gonna simply just go here, and then now Black is still gonna try to run away by moving the king over to c7. And look at this king go. The Black's king is gonna try to go to b6 and try to run off this way. So now the question is like, what should white do now? So notice that we are yeah, exactly. The king wants to run away on b6. So how do we do that? How do we stop that? Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and go knight to d7, and then again, as I told you before, the knight once goes in a W shape. That's very, very important. So we're gonna go ahead and go knight to d7, and yes, it does stop the king from going to b6. But also notice again, so Black's king is gonna try to escape, and the king is gonna go to c6. And if you notice right now, this Black king is trying to escape on b5. So how do we stop this king from going to b5 right now? So this, yeah, we're gonna go bishop to d3. Notice this king is doing a very good job controlling these squares and is also protecting the knight. This knight is also protecting the c5 square. So notice that the pieces, they're all working together as a team. And I guess like if you play like a team sport, if you notice like if you play if you play like soccer or basketball, if you notice like in order to win, everybody on the team has to work together, right? So you can think of it this as like a sports team, like they all have to work together as a team. So bishop goes to d3, and this bishop, it is controlling the b5 square. So look at how many squares we are controlling. So that means that the king can go to c7, or it can go to b8. Let's say that I go king to b7, and then what should we do now? Yeah, we could go bishop to b5. I don't. Yes, but, I don't yeah, wait. Yeah, okay, so let me just talk about what the difference is. Okay, so JJ says bishop to b5. Okay, the problem with this move is the king can go to c7, and then like what do we do now? It's gonna be hard for white to continue. We actually want to go king to d6, and the reason why is because if you notice right now, if we just take a look right now, Black's king can go to c7 and the c6 squares. So because of that, we want to move the king to d6, so the king is controlling the c6 and then the c7 squares. So if you notice right now, white's pieces are controlling all these squares. We are forcing Black's king to go backward, or yeah, go back. So let's say that the king goes here. So what should we do now? Yeah, we're gonna yeah, we can go king to c7. Yeah, that's interesting because Black's only move is to go here. I think we gotta be careful about that. Because we don't want to accidentally stalemate our opponent too. So I want to go back. Yeah, let's go back for a second. Is there another move that we can do? I think that works, but the question is how do you continue? How do you continue after king goes to a8? So again, if you notice right now, this king is trapped in the corner, but we gotta do the checkmate. We don't want to accidentally stalemate. Knight to b6. Then Black's only move is to go here. And then what do we do now? Knight to c8. Okay, but then I'm gonna go back here. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then now we can go bishop to e4, and then that's a checkmate. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so just as a review, okay, so again, if you have a white square bishop, then you gotta force the king to go to a8 or h1 because it's a white square. And then if you have a dark square bishop, then you gotta force the king to go to h8 or a1. So in this position, the first thing we're gonna do is move the bishop here because it stops the king from going to g8. And then Black's only move is to go here, and then again we use the W movement for the knight. Again, you only move the knight only if the Black king is one square diagonal from the knight. So knight goes here, and again, if the king goes back here, then you simply move the knight here. Black's king goes here, white's king goes here, then the king goes here. Look at this. Actually, the king can go to c7, so we simply just move the king over to d6. If the king goes to e8, the king is trying to escape, so we move the bishop here. Notice this king cannot go to f8 because of the knight. Black's only move is to go to d8. And then again, in this position, we have to do a waiting move with the bishop. We do not want to move the knight because the king and the knight, they're not on one square diagonal from each other. So we move the bishop, but make sure when you move the bishop, it needs to control the E8 square. So F7 or H5, those squares are perfectly fine. Black's only move is to go here. Again, the knight and the king, they're one square apart. Then that means it's time for you to move the knight. Remember, I am moving the knight in the W formation. That's very, very important. If I go here, you simply just move the knight back. King goes here, king goes here, king goes over here, and then again, we don't want the king to go to A7, so we simply just move the king over to B6. If the king goes to C8, then we simply just move the bishop to G4 because it checks the king. The black's king's only move is to go here. We're going to go ahead and just do a waiting move with the bishop. So when we move the bishop, we want this bishop to control the C8 square, because we don't want the king to go to C8. So that means that moving the bishop to F5, E6, D7, or H3, those squares are perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and just go bishop to H3. Black's only move is to go here. And then after that, we have to move the knight to C5. Black's king's only move is to go to B8. And then now we go knight to A6. Notice that Black's only move is to go king to A8. And then we move bishop to G2, and then that's going to be checkmate. And then again, if Black decides to go the other way, so if the king decides to try to run away this way, then you move the king over here. Black's king is trying to escape on C7, and then again, the king is trying to go to B6. You simply just move the knight over here, so the knight is controlling B6. Black's king goes here, so notice this king is trying to escape to B5. Notice that B5 is a white square, so you simply just move the bishop to D3 because this bishop is controlling the B5 square. So let's say that the king goes to B5, and then again in this position, we want to move the king over to D6, and the reason why we want to do this is because it is controlling these two squares next to the king. Remember, if we move the bishop to B5, yes, it is controlling the C6 square, but notice that the king can go to C7. So that's why you move the king over to D6. That's very, very important. Let's say that the king goes over here. Then what do? We're gonna simply just yeah, we can simply, let's go ahead and move the bishop over here, because again the king can go to B7, so we're going to simply just go here. And then again, if the king goes back here, then the king is trying to escape to E8. So we move the king over to bishop to G6. Black's king, so only move is to go to C8, and then again the knight and the king, they're one square diagonal from each other. We move the knight over to C5, and again, if the king goes this way, what do? We simply again move the king over here to follow Black's king, and then again, let's say that the king goes to A7. We can just go ahead and just do a waiting move. It's very, very important for this bishop to control the C8 square, because if we notice right now, we are controlling these squares, and so that's good. This king cannot go to the 6th rank. We want to trap the king. But notice, again, we are not controlling the C8 square, so that means this king is going to try to escape on C8. So because of that, we want to move the bishop to F5 because it is controlling the c8 square. So let's say the black's king goes here. If that's the case, we're going to simply just move the king over to b6. And with this move, this king is controlling the a7, b7, and the c squares. And that's great because this king cannot go to the 7th ring. So that's fantastic. And again, thanks to this bishop, this king cannot go to c8. So therefore, black's only move is to go to a8. And then this is where you have to be careful again. When you're playing chess, it's very important to ask, if I move here, where is my opponent going to do? Some people might be tempted to go king to a6 because, I mean, you are getting the knight closer, but if you move the knight to a6, then this is going to be stalemate. So because of that, we're just going to go ahead and just do a waiting move with the bishop. And again, when we move this bishop, we want this bishop to control the c8 square. So that means moving the bishop to d7, e6, g4, or h3. Those are good squares, but you don't want to move the bishop to c8, because if you do that, then black's king can go to b8, and then you have to move the bishop again. So that would not be good. So we're going to simply just make a waiting move. Let's go bishop to g4, and black's only move is to go here. And now we can checkmate black in 2 moves. And again, as a review, we simply just move the knight over to a6. It is checking the king. Black's only move is to go to a8, and then white's bishop goes here, and then that's a checkmate. So I hope like you found this to be very beneficial. We're gonna go ahead and move on. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. But let's go ahead and I have another like fun puzzle. This is actually a fun puzzle right now. In this puzzle, it is white to move, and it's checkmate in 2. So do you guys see it? So it's white to move, and it is checkmate in 2. I know that there's many ways to win in this position, but I want you to find the checkmate in 2. You saw this puzzle before. Okay. Well, I'm hoping that other people can see. I hope that other people know what to do. So do you guys know what to do? It is checkmate in 2. It is white to move right now. So I'm assuming that JJ knows. Okay. Does other people want to type something? Does anybody else want to type something in the chat box? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. If you think you know the answer, go ahead and type something in the chat box. Okay, so you think I know. Okay. So it is white to move. If you guys think you know the answer, just go ahead and just type it in the chat box, white to move and checkmate in 2. You have to be careful about these pawns too. So So the good thing about this position is this king, it is controlling these 3 squares, so that's a good thing. This king is on the edge of the board, so that's a very good thing. But again, it is white to move. How does white checkmate black in 2 moves? So again, if you think you know the answer, go ahead and just type it in the YouTube chat box so I can read it. You have to think out of the box. This is okay, so JJ says queen goes to A3. And this is actually the correct answer. Yes, it is. Okay, the reason why this is the correct answer is because white is threatening to go queen to A8, and that's going to be checkmate. Again, this king is doing a very good job controlling the 7th rank, so that's great. It doesn't matter what black does. Like, for example, if the king goes to f8, well, then we can still go queen to a8, and that's going to be checkmate because, again, this king can't just go to e7. This is like a moment where you, yeah. This is like a moment where like you want sometimes this is a moment where you want to capture your own piece to escape checkmate. But yeah, the other ways don't work. So like for example, if you go if you try queen to f3 or g4, this doesn't quite work because the pawn can move up, and then this is not checkmate. So that's great. Okay, there is another puzzle that I want to show you, and this is kind of fun one. In this puzzle, it is white to move, and it's also checkmate in 2. And this is very interesting because there are you've got 2 pawns, and they are very close to promotion. So how does white checkmate black in 2 moves? So you have to remember, it's like chess is a thinking game. You need time to think. If you do that, then you can try to find the answer. I always tell my students to just like ask questions before they make a move, and then you're always trying to just find like the answer. Like you have to treat like each move as a puzzle. So again, this is the puzzle. It is white to move. How does white checkmate black in 2 moves? So so one good thing about this king, it is controlling the b5 and then the b4 square. So that's important. So it's white to move. So if you guys think you know the answer, go ahead and just type it in the YouTube chat box. Okay, JJ found the answer. Yep. We're gonna simply just move promote the C pawn to a knight, and the reason why we're gonna go ahead and do this is because the knight is controlling the b6 square. Black only has 2 possible moves. Of course, if we move the king over to a4, then white can promote the pawn to a queen or a rook. It does not matter, and that's a checkmate. Again, promoted to a queen, and that's going to be checkmate. And then what happens if the king goes here? Then the queen, so this pawn can become a queen, and this is going to be checkmate. Notice you have to promote the pawn to a queen, because if you promote the pawn to a rook, this is not checkmate because the king can go to b7. So the move order, it does count because, again, if we try promoting this pawn to a queen right now, then Black's king can go to b5, and then again, if we promote this pawn to a knight, this is not checkmate because Black's king can just go to c7. So move order, that's actually very, very important. So this is like another good exercise to ask, okay, look, if I move here, where is my opponent going to do? That's very, very important. Okay, so that's great. Let's move on. I noticed that we have about 10 more minutes left, and I can show you guys. Actually, I'm gonna just do another review. So yesterday, I I showed you guys a position where hold on, let me go ahead and let me go find the position right now, because I think this is very, very important. So hold on, let me go find it right now. Oh wait, hold on. Right, okay, so the position, it was like this. I showed you this from yesterday. Okay, so you guys, I showed you this position. Yeah, I showed you this position from yesterday. So the question is, it is white to move, and do you guys remember how to draw in this position? So black is going this way, and so that means that white is going this way. So do you guys remember how to draw in this position? This position is actually very, very important because king pawn in games, they're very, very common. So this is actually very important to know. So how does white draw in this position? So it is white to move. Right, okay. So JJ says pawn to a4. This is what we want to do, and it seems to be kind of crazy, but it is the move. There are some, like, that can do some possible moves. So let's say that the king goes and takes the pawn. Then what should white do? So what should white do now? So you guys, if you guys think you know the answer, just go ahead and just type it in the YouTube chat box. A takes b5. Yep, exactly. And then Black's pawn is going to go ahead and just take it. So let's go ahead and do that. And then what should we do now? This is, even though Black is up a pawn, this is still a draw. So do you guys remember what to do? King goes to b2. Exactly. Okay, so let's just talk about why this draws. The reason why we do this is because it stops the king from going to the third rank, right? There's also like other move possibilities. So for example, so king takes pawn, but what do you do if pawn takes the pawn on a4? What do we do now? king goes to b1. Okay. Let's just think about this. Is black has two side pawns on the A file, and black's pawn, this the A4 pawn, it wants to become a queen. Of course, we need to stop that. So we're gonna go ahead and just move the king over to b1. So the king can control the a2 and the a1 squares. We don't care about this pawn anymore on b4. So let's say that the king goes here, and then there's no way for black to force this pawn to promote. Like, for example, if we just go here, this is going to end up being a draw, or it could also be a stalemate, right? So this pawn goes here, then that's going to be stalemate. So that's good to know. Yeah, exactly. So I think we have got about 5 minutes left. So you gotta just remember is, again, if your opponent has a side pawn, and if your king is in the corner, if this black pawn is going this way, then this is going to be a draw. Assuming that you move the king back and forth. So that's very, very important. The other thing that's good to know is if you have a side pawn, and if you have a bishop like this, then this is going to be a win, because the queening square is a dark square, and you have a dark square bishop. But just remember is, if you have a white square bishop, then this is going to be a draw. So this is just important in game knowledge. That's very, very important. So that's very, very important. I did set up another position where, let me see, it was kind of like, I think I showed you this or a similar position on Monday, where black has a bishop. If this is a position like this is going to be a draw. Even though your opponent has a bishop and you don't, you simply just move the king over to h1, and then this is going to be a draw, because there is no way for black to capture the pawn on g4. I know, like, earlier this week too, I did talk about a fortress. So if you have a position like this and you are white, this is a draw. You have to set up a fortress. Remember to do this. The pawn on g2, it just stays here. All you want to do is you want to simply just move the rook back and forth, or if you have to move the king should just protect the g2 pawn. So that's actually very, very important. So that's very, very important. What else is going on? Yeah, so I hope you found this meeting to be very beneficial. And I'll just tell you more stuff about what's going on with me. I do live streaming every week. So that's great. And just to let you know, if you're interested in chess lessons, you can go ahead and take a look at my website. So I give chess lessons in person and also in Zoom. So you can just go to my website just to find out more. And then the other exciting thing is, if you are a beginner, I am offering a chess workshop on Saturday, August 12th from 2 to 3 Pacific Standard Time. So if you're rated under 1,000, then that would be great. If you are an advanced chess player, feel free to play in my chess tournament on Saturday, September 10th at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. First place wins a $20 gift card. So in order to do this, you gotta just join my club on chess.com. So that's great. The other thing you probably know is Chris Torres hosts a chess tournament every Monday night at 7 p.m. and I broadcast all the action on my YouTube channel. And so I do encourage you to play in that tournament too. So you guys thank you so much. It was fun. And then the other thing is if you are rated below 1,000, I do invite you to yes, thank you. If you are underrated, if you're rated under 1,000, ideally feel free to just email one of your games. And then I'll be happy to analyze your chess game for free on my YouTube channel. So I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, you guys, bye.